Berlusconi. He hit the headlines this week after his wife hit him with a divorce suit. So in true Italian style, will she tell him the only thing he'll be sleeping with in future are the fishies? Tonight, we've put Berlusconi in the spotlight. Ah, la dolce vita. Life in Italia is certainly different from old Blighty. Sun, sea, sand. Oh yes, and Silvio. We've got the stern son of the manse, but the Italian's great leader is a television mogul, a football club owner, and self-confessed Donaiola. That's a womanizer between you and me. But he's in deep murder with Mrs. Berlusconi over his relationship with an 18-year-old TV starlet who calls him Daddy. Mamma mia. Mrs. B also isn't keen on his candidates for the Euro elections. So how do Silvia's politicians compare to ours? Big Silv has crossed other women in his time, choosing to take a phone call rather than meet Frau Merkel, and even upsetting her Madge by yelling in her ear. She almost told him to shut up your face. So why don't we have politicians like him? We had one leader who did surround himself with women, but do Blair's babes really compare? And what is it about Silvery Silvio, or Italians, that makes him such a successful election-winning machine? Sylvia, wish you could get you on this week. But we've done almost as well. We've got James Richardson and Nancy Delalio. Welcome back, Nancy. Good
nice
to see you, James.
Good to see you too.
James, let me start with you. You lived in Italy for 10 years. You were covering their equivalent of the Premier League, the football. And you looked at politics. Tell us what it is about Italians' political culture that allows a Berlusconi to thrive.
I don't think it's his political qualities that allow him to thrive. It's his qualities as a man that allow him to thrive. He's a very successful businessman. He knows about football. He
owns a football club, doesn't he?
He owns a football club, and he's also extremely talented at picking people for his football club. He's also extremely talented at picking his friends, which is one of the greatest qualities an Italian can have.
But we wouldn't necessarily want Alex Ferguson as Prime Minister.
Wouldn't we?
No.
He's done a fantastic job with Manchester United.
Yeah, that's my point.
So, I think in Italy, the political figure isn't one that necessarily holds the same implication of trust that you might have had in this country.
Nancy, you know him. You've worked with him.
Yes, I do.
What's his charm, then, for the Italian electorate? Is it money, sex, power, all of the above?
I think all of it, but of course attraction. I'm not part of that crowd there at the moment. But of course, I have to say, he's very charming. He can be a very fascinating person. And I know the only thing probably we got at the moment, I think he is going to be too far. He thinks he can do everything he wants. This is a little bit like he's been drinking too much power. Like we say in Italian, the brezza or the breeze of when that stage.
He's out of control.
He's completely out of control. I think the last 2 years, the last few months has been, absolutely few things unacceptable and make us laugh.
Now, I can't believe that a figure like Berlusconi doesn't. I'm sure he's got his admirers, indeed in the polls, Gordon Brown would die to have his poll ratings at the moment. But he must divide the country. He must also be hated.
Well, indeed so, and I think Nancy's been on both sides of that divide. But I think
you've loved and hated him.
Well, you stood for politics with Berlusconi's party originally, but I think
I was candidate in 1995 for the local election. I've been participating in 1994 in the national campaign. I was one of the main personalities to support the national organizer, and that was been a great experience. And we want to change, so we believe that was enough for change.
Who tends to like him, and who tends to really dislike him?
Nancy, you answer that one.
Well, I'm quite impressed how really the people really love me.
Is it the Italian middle class? Is it the Italian bourgeoisie?
No, they don't.
That's mixed.
I would suggest that they don't like him. I think that the less contact you have with the outside world, if you like, Italy can be quite an insular country. In this country, we speak English. The Americans speak English. We tend to have a broad worldview. In Italy, that doesn't necessarily happen through elements of society. And so whilst the intelligentsia get offended by the fact that he insults regularly the Chinese, the Germans, anybody in the economy. Exactly.
The Queen.
The people who don't have much contact with what the outside world thinks just get on with it, and he is a successful man until he runs the country.
I'm very glad you made that point, because when I had dealings with Italian politicians, when Berlusconi was not in power, I was struck by how very top drawer they were. How they were aristocrats, they were snobs. And, of course, Berlusconi is not that. And it seems to me that one of the attractions he has is that, as you say, he understands the matters that are of interest to the people. He doesn't seem to have stepped out of that ivory tower of inheritance in the way that some of them have.
It must help, though, that he has his own little media empire. I mean, if you...
can I just point out... Can I just point out that what the situation in Italy with Mr. Berlusconi is, it would be the equivalent of Mr. Brown owning ITV, Channel 4... Channel 5, The Times, The Telegraph, and appointing all the top people in the BBC.
That was my point. That's part of the explanation why he's so popular.
And Manchester United.
He's controlling 6 television stations.
Shirley Williams said to me today on the Daily Politics, not on camera but just afterwards, that if Italy was today applying to if Mr. Berlusconi's Italy was today applying to join the European Union, it would not fulfil the criteria.
Really?
Yes, because the press and political system were not separate. They had passed all sorts of laws that stopped you pursuing corruption among politicians, that it wouldn't make the necessary criteria.
Let me make another point. The only thing that most
the European Union
are sticking together here.
The only thing that most people know about Italian politics outside Italy is that no government lasts more than 9 months. Berlusconi has been in power again and again and again. He's completely broken the mould of Italian
he has.
politics.
I mean, at one stage they had 46 prime ministers in 46 years. But what does it do for Italy's image? In a sense, it's great fun and we love it. We're interested in Italian politics.
I know.
But it kind of reinforces the caricature of Italy, does it not?
Unfortunately, yes. And I have to say, I agree with you. And even if I have a problem with a lot of my friends there, or even my journal, of course, they were part of the intelligentsia. That, of course, they're trying to be against Berlusconi. But when you say the first question, everybody, from the lower class, middle class, and the top class, they admire, they follow him. The reason is he won was 65%. So people are voting him, like it or don't like it. And of course, personally, I disagree that the international image, the way he is the first.
Do you think any possible billionaire sex addicts, you think, coming Prime Minister of Britain in the near future?
Suggest that Gordon should wear a little hanky tied around his head like Berlusconi does.
It might help him. I'll take that as a no then.
The thing is, you've been berating Gordon Brown for his lack of political acumen and his presentational skills. Berlusconi's been the master of that. I mean, he does it through his own TV station. I am curious, though.
Yeah, well, if you own all those TV stations.
Okay, very briefly. Now that his libido has entered the Woody Allen phase, where he's